If you passed the first test, the narcissist doesn't give up. They just get smarter. The second test is worse, because this time, they're not testing your boundaries, they're testing your loyalty. And the cost of failing isn't just control, it's isolation. If you've ever felt like you had to choose between someone you love and everyone else in your life, this test is why. If you've ever been accused of caring more about others than them, you didn't just fail, you fell into the trap. I'm going to show you exactly how this test works, why it's so effective, and how to recognize it before you lose everyone who actually cares about you. The second test is called the isolation test, and it starts with a choice they force you to make. Here's how it unfolds. After you've proven your boundaries are weak, after they know you'll accept disrespect disguised as love, they move to phase 2, removing your support system. But they can't just tell you to stop seeing your friends and family. That would be obvious. That would trigger your defenses. So instead, they make you choose. And they make it feel like your idea. It starts small. They sulk when you make plans without them. They get quiet when you mention a friend's name. They claim they're fine, but their energy shifts. The warmth disappears. The affection goes cold. You ask what's wrong. They say nothing, but you feel it. The distance, the punishment. And your brain starts making connections that aren't real. You think, maybe they're upset I'm seeing Sarah tonight. Maybe they feel neglected. Maybe I should cancel. Maybe that would make them happy again. So you cancel, and instantly they light up. The warmth returns. The affection comes back. They're so grateful, so loving, so present. And your brain learns a dangerous lesson. Choosing them over others equals love. Choosing others over them equals loss. That's the test. And most people don't even realize they just took it. Because narcissists don't demand isolation. They reward it. They condition you to choose them by making every other choice feel like betrayal. The psychology behind this is called operant conditioning. They're training you the same way you'd train a dog. When you pick them, you get rewarded with affection. When you pick someone else, you get punished with withdrawal. And it works because humans are wired to avoid punishment and seek reward. You're not weak for falling for this. You're normal. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. The narcissist is just exploiting how you're built. Now here's where it gets darker. Once they know the pattern works, they escalate. The sulking becomes accusations. The cold shoulder becomes fights. The subtle disappointment becomes overt jealousy. They start saying things like, I feel like I'm not a priority to you. You care more about your friends than me. Why do you even need other people when you have me? If you really loved me, I'd be enough. And these statements, they sound like insecurity. They sound like someone who's afraid of losing you. So you try to reassure them. You try to prove your love by spending more time with them and less time with everyone else. You don't realize you're being isolated. You think you're being a good partner. Your friends start to fade. Not because you hate them, but because every time you see them, you feel guilty. Every time you choose them, you pay for it later. So slowly, unconsciously, you stop choosing them. Your family calls less, not because they don't care, but because every conversation with them leads to an interrogation from your partner. So you avoid the conflict. You let the calls go to voicemail. You skip the family dinners. You make excuses. And the narcissist? They're there for all of it. Supportive, understanding. The only one who really gets you. The only one you need. By the time you realize you're alone, it's too late. Everyone who would have helped you see the truth is gone, and the narcissist is the only voice left in your head. This is the goal of the second test. Not just to control you, but to make you dependent. Because as long as you have other people, you have perspective. You have reality checks. You have options. But when you're isolated, their reality becomes your reality.
Their version of you becomes who you are. And leaving becomes impossible because there's nowhere left to go. Here's what most people miss. The second test isn't one moment. It's 1,000 small moments. It's a pattern you don't notice until the damage is done. So how do you pass this test? You refuse to choose. You establish that your relationships with other people are not up for negotiation. That loving them doesn't mean abandoning everyone else. That healthy love expands your world. It doesn't shrink it. When they sulk because you're seeing a friend, you don't cancel. You go anyway. You say, "I understand you're feeling this way, but I'm still going. We can talk when I get back."
When they accuse you of not prioritizing them, you don't defend or explain. You say, "I love you, and I also love the people in my life. Both things are true. I'm not choosing between you." When they imply that needing other people means you don't love them enough, you call it out. You say, "Healthy relationships don't require isolation. If you need me to cut off everyone else to prove I love you, that's not love, that's control." Watch what happens when you hold this boundary. This is the moment of truth. A healthy person will hear you. They'll recognize their behavior. They'll work on their insecurity. They'll encourage your friendships because they want you to be whole, not dependent. A narcissist will escalate. They'll make you the villain for having boundaries. They'll accuse you of not loving them. They'll threaten to leave. They'll punish you harder for refusing to be controlled. And that's how you know. That's the difference. If keeping your friends and family costs you the relationship, it wasn't a relationship worth keeping. Because real love doesn't ask you to become small. It doesn't require you to be alone. It doesn't punish you for having a life outside of them. The second test reveals whether you're in a partnership or a prison. Pass it, even if it costs you the relationship, because failing it costs you everything else. Most people fail the second test because they don't see it coming. They think isolation is something that happens to other people. They think they'd notice if they were being manipulated. But isolation doesn't look like prison bars. It looks like love that demands all of you. It looks like someone who just wants to be close. It looks like loyalty, until you're alone. And by then, it's too late to pass the test. You already failed. So pass it now. The first time they make you choose. Every time they make you choose. Because the cost of failing isn't just one relationship, it's all of them.